Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Donor Centric Approach. This podcast is brought to you by MRP Donor Development, where we keep our donors at the center of everything we do, and by our friends and sponsors at Stellar Web Systems, the nonprofit tech solution. As always, I am your host, Orlando Barros, and today we are talking about something that I just hear all the time from nonprofit and ministry leaders. Orlando, we just don't have the time, staff, or resources to focus on fundraising the way we should. Happens all the time. And if that sounds like you or someone you know, this episode is for you. Because here's the truth. You don't need a massive team or a fully staffed development office to build a strong fundraising culture. I know from experience, and my clients, those that I work with, know from experience as well. What you need is the right mindset and just a few practical strategies to make fundraising and development work for you, regardless of the size of your team, your ministry, or your nonprofit. So today, I'm going to walk you through how to shift from a culture or a mindset of scarcity to a culture of true development, regardless of the size of your organization. And here's what we're going to do. So today we're going to be covering what a culture of development actually looks like. We'll also talk about the 3 mindset shifts that need to happen for it to take root in your organization. And at the end, we're going to leave you with 3 actionable things you can do this week right away to build it inside your mission. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's start with a big question. What is a culture of development? And what that really means, a culture of development, it means that fundraising isn't just a task on someone's to-do list. It's a shared mindset throughout the organization, from the chairman of the board all the way down. A mindset that sees donors as true partners, not piggy banks, not ATM machines, not cash cows. It's a mindset that believes in consistent relational communication. And it's especially a mindset that values the long game over the quick fix. This is a marathon and not a sprint. And sometimes the biggest results will take a long time to bear fruit. In this kind of culture, everyone, from the executive director to the chairman of the board, to program staff, to volunteers, understands that the funding of the mission is part of their responsibility. It is everyone's job to make sure that your mission, your organization is funded. Now, I'm not saying that everyone is asking for money. Instead, what I'm saying is that everyone is telling the story of the mission. Everyone is building relationships. And every single person is reinforcing the value of donor partnership in your organization. Everyone is cultivating that next gift. Doesn't mean everyone's asking, but it does mean that everyone is on the same page. Clarity creates unity. It's not simply clarity between you, the person doing development, and your donor or your prospect, but it's clarity across the board with the entire team, with everyone involved in the mission. That's what a true culture of development is. So what do we do if this culture is not currently in place in our organization? Let's talk about the top 3 mindset shifts that you need to actually build this culture. This is going to take some time, but you need to realize where you are in order to know where you want to go. Let's start with the first mindset. Mindset number 1. You want to go from seeing fundraising and development as a nuisance to actually seeing fundraising and development as mission. What I normally see, what happens all the time, is that too many organizations, too many nonprofits and ministries see fundraising as something that they have to do. Fundraising is actually the mission. Fundraising and development is the way that we invite others to participate in what we're trying to accomplish. You're not just asking for money. As a matter of fact, money is not really the ultimate goal. A deeper commitment into what you're trying to accomplish, that's the ultimate goal. And with your donors and prospects, that takes place in their giving, in their philanthropic giving. When you believe that fundraising in itself is the mission, you instantly start communicating differently. You start showing up every day to work. You start showing up every day to your meetings, especially with your donors and prospects, with confidence. Because what you do is that you cast that vision forth instead of casting that guilt. It's not a nuisance. It is the mission. Mindset shift number 2. Development, or seeing development as one person's job, to actually seeing it as everyone's role. Even if you are the director of development or you are the executive director, you cannot do everything in fundraising and development alone. You cannot do it by yourself. You know what you need? You need stories. You need program updates. You need introductions. You need visibility. And in order to do that well, to do development work well, as you put all these parts together, you need other people. You need your team. Board members, volunteers, they can make thank you calls for you. Board members, volunteers, they can help at events. Your staff can share success stories with your donors and prospects. Everyone has a role. It's a complete different thing when a donor sees that it's not just you involved in the mission. When they pick up the phone and they call your organization and Johnny picks up and Johnny goes, "Oh, you must be asking for Orlando. My gosh, are you Tim? Tim, thank you for the big gift that just came through. I want to tell you what that means to our organization." As a matter of fact, just today we spoke with one of our clients whose life was forever changed because of our mission, and it reminded me of your gift. We could not do it without your support. John, thank you. Thank you so much. See that difference right there? First, you're getting the donor to see that their gift matters. And it is not just you that knows about it, but the entire organization. When everyone realizes that everyone has a part to play in raising and development, the culture starts to change completely. Mindset shift number 3. Going from an events-driven organization to a relationship-driven organization. If you know me, you know that I dislike events. Particularly, I dislike the amount that it takes to put them together, what they oftentimes cost. And I think, it is my belief, and I think I'm not alone here, that there's just so much more untapped potential in the way that we see events usually, which makes me not a big fan of events. And by that, I mean, your regular dinners and galas and golf outings, that kind of thing, right? That's not to say that events shouldn't exist. Fundraising events do have their merit and they have their place. But if they're your only fundraising strategy or your main fundraising strategy, which happens more often than not, what's going to happen is that you always end up feeling burned out. You always end up feeling like you're just behind and that you're always playing catch up because you're taking so much time to put these events together. A true culture of development focuses on consistent and meaningful connections with your donors. That's what matters. That's what's going to develop those huge gifts. That's why people are going to go, you know what, I'm going to turn my $500 gift into a $10,000 gift. And that can happen before and after the event, not just at the event itself. As a matter of fact, one single event is not geared to develop those consistent and meaningful relationships. It's the job leading up to the event and definitely post the event. Your events should be just your entry point. Your events should be the way that you implement a donor acquisition strategy for your mission, for your organization. Your events should not be the entirety of your fundraising strategy. They should not be your main fundraising strategy. Instead, they're just one small part of what you actually do. That is what a true culture development looks like, where events are just a part and not the whole. So what do you do? What can you do right now if what I've said so far is resonating with you and you're not quite where you need to be to have a culture, a true culture of development in place in your organization? I want to leave you with 3 practical ways to start building that culture of development today, right now, this week. The first thing that you can do is to host a very short, 15 minutes at the most, host a development culture briefing with your team today. If you are a one-man shop, reach out to a few of your board members or a few of your volunteers and explain the mindset shifts that we just discussed. Invite stories from the field, from the mission field. Reinforce the idea that development is about relationships, not just donations. You do that by involving your entire team. Again, development is not one man's responsibility. It's not just the role of the one person. Share your stories with one another Share the donor strategies with one another and start building that culture today. And talk about those 3 mindset shifts. Number 2, practical way number 2 you can implement this week. Create a shared donor communication calendar. You could put together or pulling your leadership team, really, if your staff is small or if it's just you, your top 2 or 3 board members, and outline with them key donor touch points for the next 60 to 90 days that they are going to be involved with. Who is sending what? Is it an email? Is it a handwritten note? Is it a story? Speaking of stories, what stories are the ones that we need to share with our donors? What are the stories that are going to move people's hearts? What are the stories that they really need to hear? And who's doing the follow-up with those? Start with your maybe top 5 donors and create an outline of touch points in the next 2 to 3 months. Maybe one a month from each of your key leadership team members, and start in getting them involved in your development efforts. And as you do that, practical way number 3 to build this culture, assign one true stewardship task to one of them, to a board member or to a volunteer or one of your leadership staff. Once you decide your strategy, right? So once you are having the meeting, you're sharing your donor communication calendar, and you know what strategy you are to follow, do assign to them a really meaningful task. So if it is a handwritten thank you note, make sure that you tell them and you coach them through it, and then you go, write a thank you note to Mr. Smith. And make sure that you acknowledge his last gift of $1,000. And in that, tell him what that $1,000 did. And on top of that, share a story with him. If it's not a thank you note, make a gratitude or a thank you call instead. And do the same thing. Walk them through what they should be saying on that call that becomes a meaningful touch point, as opposed to just, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for your last gift. Take care. You could even have them share a donor story on their social media to create awareness about the mission, right? It doesn't have to be that big of an action. The point is that even with the small things, we start creating over time this huge shift. Because the truth of the matter is that the majority of us are not where we need to be in order to have a true development culture in our organization. If that were the case, we wouldn't be saying all the time, I just don't have the time to focus on development because I don't have the staff or the resources. I know that I should be doing more, but it's just the way that it is. If we're not able to change that mindset, it's like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We want to start changing those things today. We want to start making those shifts in our mindset to go from scarcity to a true development strategy and mindset by doing small things. But we need to start them today. The longer we wait, the longer it's going to take for it to become a reality. I always tell my clients when they start working with me, the point isn't to create the best strategy today or the perfect one. The point is just to start and to get the juices flowing. And as you go, you're going to realize what works and what doesn't for your organization. As you're getting your team together and as you're getting more people on board with this vision that development is indeed part of the mission of this new culture, I want to give you this bonus tip. I want to insist that you celebrate fundraising and development wins publicly, particularly when they come not from you, if you know what I mean. If after you're getting your team together, as you're getting people, one of them brings in a donor, one of them actually makes a stewardship call and ends up creating and having a great chat, and the beginning of a relationship starts because of that. Or even when a board member makes a major gift because they just see that, you know what, this is worth it, and they support one of your appeals, right? Celebrate that. Call that out in a meeting and let everyone know publicly that this team effort is important, that is worth it, and that it matters. The goal is to, as you get people excited, to reinforce by celebrating wins together that development work is mission work. And mission work does not happen if everyone is not involved. Imagine a world where all of us had this type of culture in place. Wouldn't that be an awesome world? Again, and here's the bottom line. You don't need a huge team. I'm working with clients right now that are very, very small teams, and they're making it happen. You don't need a massive budget. You just need to start building a culture of development. What you do need is intentionality. What you do need is clarity. And what you do need is consistency. Be intentional, be clear, and be consistent, and these changes will start to take place in a culture development when fundraising and development becomes everyone's responsibility. It also becomes everyone's joy. And when that happens, not just you, your board members, your staff, your volunteers feel it, but your donors feel it. And when your donors feel it, they respond in kind by continuing to support your mission, your organization. Again, if you found this helpful, I want to just humbly ask you to just subscribe to this podcast and to leave a quick review or a rating. It would mean the world to me if you did that. And if this really resonated with you and you found this beyond helpful, I want to encourage you to just reach out to us. Because our goal is to help as many ministries, as many nonprofits build a fundraising and development culture that works for them and is tailored to them. Our Calendly link is going to be on the notes for this show, in the description. And our website, www.mrpdonordev.com, will also be included. And our Calendly link is also on our website, and you can sign up there and just have a chat with us. We'd love to get to know you. I love to hear more about what the great work that you do and your mission, and see if there's any way that we can support you. At the end of the day, I'm just incredibly grateful that you continue to tune in, that you continue to listen. It means the world to me. And as always, I'm grateful for you. See you next time here on our next episode of the Donor Centric Approach. Remember to keep your donors at the center of everything that you do, and you will see success. You're the best. Take care. God bless.